We welcome you to episode 21 of Battin and Chattin here on the Eastern Observer alongside Denis Tuohy. I'm Brandon Natale. Now, before we get started, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube to be kept in the loop on everything Eastern Observer and most importantly, Battin and Chattin. Now, our show can be found on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts can be found. Our show is presented to you by Black Cats NYC. Be sure to download their newest hit single, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, which can be found wherever music is found, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, Satellite Radio, and many others. Dennis, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Doing great, man. Some great postseason baseball being played. The Phillies, who I covered all year long for the Eastern Observer, routing the Diamondbacks 10-0 at Citizens Bank Park, taking a 2-0 lead. Rangers upsetting the Astros 2-0 lead heading back to Arlington. So this is fun.
Yeah.
Some unusual suspects this late in the game. And obviously Max Scherzer returning to the mound. I'm excited. Going on vacation this weekend. Just kind of,
Nice.
I'm set and ready to go, man.
Good for you. You deserve a nice vacation.
I do deserve a nice vacation. Going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Football Hall of Fame with my dad and brother. Nice little dude trip. Can't wait.
Lucky. That's nice. Rock and roll and then Canton Hall of Fame. That's definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah. I know like very, very little about football history, so hopefully I can learn a couple things.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would be like, obviously I try to teach you as much as I can, but I mean, you know some. I think you know football.
Yeah. Not too much. Like 2010 and on, I'm pretty good with. But before that,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, football's big, just like just like baseball and basketball. Basketball.
that's
I mean, it's not even
those are
basketball's
my
not even 100
lanes.
years. What?
Baseball and basketball are more in my lanes.
Right.
You know that.
Yeah, I
Hockey,
do.
I'm like an invalid.
Well,
I'm a Devils fan. I'm not an NHL fan. Like I
gotcha.
just
Yeah.
watched the Devils. That's it. And
Yeah.
even then, that's like kind
Yeah.
of few and far between now. Just don't have the time I used to. When I was in middle school, though, I was locked in every game.
Yeah.
I was like one of those people that like lived and died every game. Okay, baseball.
Yeah.
So,
Either way.
how
Yep.
have
Either
you
way.
been?
I've been good. We just got a lot of good things. Life, life is good. Um, I'm good. We got a new pup. Maybe I'll show her later. For the podcast. For the show, we'll see. But for now, like I said, this ain't the hockey podcast or the pup. The dog. Dog show contest podcast like they have on Thanksgiving. This is Bad and Chatting.
A dog podcast would be epic. Could you imagine two dogs sitting around making a podcast together,
That'd be dope. I'd definitely subscribe to that.
complaining about the mailman, squirrels? What are they
Sure.
doing on my property?
And how come the owners didn't give them their food?
Yeah. How come I can't have a T-bone steak? What's up with
Yeah,
that? Huh?
that's so true. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, we'll see in 10 years. But for now, Nick Castellanos, he
Unreal, this
became.
guy.
I did see that home run he hit. I don't know if it was game. I think it was game one, or did he hit another
Yeah,
one? Yeah,
it was game one.
he's insane. I know he's Philly. It's just as a Met fan, and yes, I'm a diehard Mets fan. You know that. Just like um, I got respect for. I mean, I got respect for the Phillies. Like I said, I got no hate. It seems, there's no room for hate. But the Phillies, they are they look great of a team all around. Just a great roster. I don't know how you could, you know, you could hate them. Not to say that I'm not rooting for the Diamondbacks, obviously, because you know, like to see the Diamondbacks win it. But the Phillies, they're a legit team. They look good, and it goes to show that you don't need to win 100 games just to make it to where they are. You know, 'cause you look at the Dodgers and you look at the Braves, and then you look at who else got eliminated. That was Braves, Dodgers,
Those the Orioles were the
right? The
other
Orioles,
100 win team.
right? Like as if you can't show up come October baseball, you're not gonna, it's not gonna be easy for you.
No, it's not. Oh my God! Did I just solve the fish tank problem by switching the microphone around?
Did you?
Does that sound better? Less fish tank in the background.
Sounds good to me.
Oh my God! The whole time I had it backwards. That's hilarious. Who would have thought? Yeah, it's The Phillies, I think, people were talking about, oh, there's no more teams with over 90 wins in the playoffs or 95 wins, whatever, for the first time ever. And listen, obviously excluding the 2020 season. Listen, man, if the Phillies had Bryce Harper for the first 2 months of the season, they would have been a 100-win team easily. Easily. They didn't have a first baseman. They tried Kyle Schwarber. He didn't really work out. Cody Clemens, he's a nice guy, son of Roger Clemens, and you hear nothing but good things about him. And he's a competent MLB player, but he wasn't exactly hitting the leather off the ball. They couldn't get that part down. There was another guy too who they tried out for a little bit, and he just didn't pan out. And when Harper came back, it opened everything up for them. No Rhys Hoskins, obviously, who Rob Thompson hinted maybe on the World Series roster. Well, he hinted they may be on the NLCS roster, but I would think that would mean that he could also be on the World Series roster if he's back. So the Phillies, the pieces were all there. It was just a matter of getting them on the field at the same time.
Okay.
The pitching struggled very early on in the season. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler, they kind of had a hard time going deep into games. They had Brady. Yeah, who was it? Brady Falter? Bailey Falter? It was a starter for them at one point. They were just kind of missing pieces. They didn't really know. They had the parts. They just didn't have the instructions to put it together. And it's clicked later on to the season. Christopher Sanchez has been a godsend for them. Michael Lorenzen hasn't even played this postseason, nor really has Taijuan Walker. Both of them were very dependable starters. Not so much as Lorenzen, but Walker certainly very dependable starter. Led the league in wins at the All-Star break. So they have guys. It's just, once again, a matter of it coming together. And when it comes together, as somebody who's covered them since opening day, when it comes together, they're the best team in the league. I don't care what stats say. I don't care.
Okay.
Sometimes, it's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and Joes. Bryce Harper's been there before. Him and Babe Ruth are the only two players to have 50 or fewer games in the postseason and hit 15 home runs. That's insane. Anytime it's you and Babe Ruth alone, you're doing something right.
Yeah, I could
Harper is a guy.
agree.
Schwarber just passed Jimmy Rollins and Hall of Fame shortstop Derek Jeter of the New York Yankees to have the most home runs to lead off a game for his team ever in the postseason. He has 4. Rollins and Jeter had 3. Castellanos, first player to have 5 home runs in 3 games in the postseason since Reggie Jackson did it. Bro.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody's watching this series, everybody that was whining and complaining about how the format needs to be changed because the Braves and Dodgers got eliminated. I hope they're watching this series closely. The Phillies were going to beat anybody. They're just going to beat anybody. I'm sorry, man. They 10-0. That's the second or third 10 spot they've put in the postseason. It's unbelievable what they're doing.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. I don't know what you think, or you didn't really cover this team. I'm curious. You're obviously an NL East fan, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are as a third party, because I just think this team, man, I don't know if they're one of the best teams I've ever seen or whatnot. I think their lineup certainly is, but in that conversation, at least since I've been following in like 06, 07 baseball, but
yeah,
they are unbelievable. And it's not just Schwarber. It's Bryson Stott had a good game. Alec Boehm's had a good series.
Marsh.
JT Realmuto, Brandon Marsh hit a homer. But it's those guys, and we're going to talk about that with the Rangers too. That 8 and 9 spot for the Rangers are hitting both. Leody Taveras and Josh Young are both hitting over 330 in the postseason. When you get that kind of production deep into the lineup, it's what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? Man, so I'm curious. What are your thoughts on the Phillies thus far?
Yeah, like I said, they're just like like I said, I respect the hell out of them. They're like I told you, like, and you just named the players right there: Bryson Stott, Marsh, Castellanos, Harper, Schwarber. The list goes on and on. They're just a stacked roster, and like I mean, like you said, it would have been interesting because you cover them essentially heavily. So when you say like it would have been interesting to see, like they easily would have had 100 wins if Bryce Harper was there. I believe you, because they're just the impact that he has on that team, and like it didn't happen right away. I remember when Harper first signed with the Phillies, and I remember he said in his press conference he was ready to bring the title to Washington. Let alone Washington did bring a title, but he didn't bring it that year. So I remember it was crazy when he left and then Washington won it. But like I said, in the long run, it looks like it's coming together now. Bryce Harper and the Phillies. It took a while, you know, especially since he's on the contract he was getting. He's going to be on the team for a while, so it takes a while for players to adjust. Um, so credit to him. I've always I like Bryce Harper. It's always I've seen him play a ton when he was on the Nationals. Uh, a little even when on the Phillies. He's just a great player, and the team is just stacked from left and right, and just to say that he's in the same conversation as Babe Ruth, that's yeah, like you said, that's remarkable. That's like a God given achievement right there. Um, because it's what I mean by that, because it's hard to obviously be in the likes of Babe Ruth. You know what I mean? That's not easy. Like
No.
so and just they're just the energy is there. The city of Philly is rocking. Um, whether I just they are a good team, and the Mets have always had their battles with them this year. Like they play them competitively. They play them much competitively better than they do against them than the Braves. But coming from a Mets fan, like I've got to say, they're a good team. You know, they just they know how to win when it comes to October, and they might not have 100 wins. They might not be the flashy team, but you know, at the end of the day, they're gonna do when they're in the spot and they're in October baseball. They're gonna show out. So you know, I'm most respect for the Phillies right now because they are just dominating. And it's insane. I felt like the Diamondbacks would have played more competitive in game two. I mean, 10-0. Come on, really?
Yeah, and listen, I'm not trying to kill them too much. It slipped away, especially when Joe Mantiply came in, and their bullpen has been very reliable this postseason run, giving up very few runs. I think only one run heading into this series, heading into this game. Excuse me. They were saying on the TBS pregame show, it might have been one. Maybe I'm misremembering a little bit, but it was certainly around only one, two, maybe three, and it's like, dude, it was that sixth inning is really what kind of catapulted the Phillies ahead. They had 4 runs in back-to-back innings, 4 in the sixth, 4 in the bottom of the seventh.
Mm.
And that really just put it out of reach for them. Merrill Kelly, who pitched for the Diamondbacks, wasn't awful. 5.2 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, 3 hits. I mean, all right, so 6 strikeouts and really only 6 base runners. Arizona, they didn't have a charged error. They definitely should have. That play when the ball dropped between Evan Longoria, Gabriel Moreno, and was it Joe Mantiply? I forget who it was, but they had one in one of those innings that I mean it ended the game. That was kind of one of those moments. I'll try to find it here. That was one of those moments that it ended the game. You could have turned the game off right there. It was over. Anytime something like that happens, that kind of momentum shift happens, you just know. Popped
Mm.
out to shortstop, single to center, intentionally walked, grounded out to third, double to left, double to center. So it was a seventh. Walked, lined out to shortstop, double to center, reach on an infield single to third. Yes, it was Bryson Stott had reached on a single to third
Okay.
with 2 outs. 2 outs in the inning. One out.
Um.
Went out in the inning in the bottom of the seventh.
Right.
You got to be better. You got to be better than that, man.
Yeah.
You got to be better than that. The Diamondbacks, I don't know. I've doubted them before. I doubted them against the Brewers, and I doubted them against the Dodgers. So maybe it's kind of a fool's errand to be doubting them against the Phillies as well. But this is a team that rises to the occasion. They don't play down to their level, which the Brewers have shown to do every single year in the postseason, which the Dodgers have shown every single year in the postseason that they do.
Right.
The Phillies are going to set the tempo, and you're going to have to match them. And I don't know if the Diamondbacks have the experience. I don't know if they have the wherewithal. I don't know if they have the talent to match the Phillies. But yeah, I mean, hats off to Merrill Kelly. He kept them in it. And I was nervous about that. He had said pregame, and of course he walked back and said, well, it was taken out of context. They all do that now. Nobody can admit to saying what they said. But he said, I don't know if you saw this, people were asking him about playing at Citizens Bank Park, and he said, well, it can't be too much worse than playing against Valenzuela in Miami during the World Baseball
Right.
Classic.
I did see that. Yeah.
And hey, that's fair. That's a good point. I wasn't down there for that game. I was down there for the last two, and the place was rocking, especially when the Latin American teams were playing. The place was rocking. We know that. But he also kind of blew the gold medal game, so maybe that's not where he should be going with it. Like I honestly thought that the Phillies were going to smoke them in this game. I thought they're going to get to Merrill Kelly earlier and run away with it. And I was wrong. He actually kept them in it. So
Yeah.
we'll see how the rest of the series goes. They have Brandon Pfaadt on the mound today against Ranger Suarez, who's had a very good postseason.
Okay.
So, yeah, do you what are some of your thoughts about the D-backs in this one?
Better bring the heat for game 3 and 4. I mean, I know they haven't, they're hungry for a championship, and I know, they got a good team together. So maybe, hopefully, a home field advantage could give them some momentum in these next 2 games, or we'll see. This is a test for them to prove their worth and why they're there. So that's really all I gotta say about the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, they're heading back to Chase Field for games 3 and 4. The probable starters are Brandon Pfaadt and I guess Zach Gallen for game
Okay.
4. I haven't really seen their schedule or whatnot. I don't know if Gallen is going to have the day's rest or not. I don't know who would be otherwise. They haven't won an NLCS game since 2001, the year they won the championship. Craig Counsell was the NLCS MVP in 01. 07,
Really,
they got
Craig
swept by
Counsell?
the Rockies. Yeah, manager of the Brewers now.
Well,
Um,
free
he's
agent.
not, was
Right.
previously.
That's pretty cool to know, though. Yeah.
But
Wait, looking
yeah,
back.
so 07, they get to the NLCS, they get swept by Colorado. You know that these Arizona fans, they're dying for a championship. They haven't had one since 2001. The Coyotes are an NHL team. And for those just listening, I used air quotes for a reason. They've been awful since they've come into the league. The Suns have never won a championship. The Cardinals have never won a championship, certainly not in this century. They've only been to one Super Bowl. I don't know if they won one in the 20th, but
Not yet, no.
the Diamondbacks, they're the only team that's won. So, these fans are itching for it, man. I
Yeah.
watch the Suns games. I'm a Suns fan, and I also cover them for the Observer. But the fans are dying for a championship. So maybe that's going to get them going. Against the Dodgers in game 3, they completely took them out of it. That was the only home game they've had in the postseason so far, which is remarkable. They went 4-2 on the road in the postseason. You'll take that. It just sucks that the 2 losses they have are back to back. And that's
Right.
baseball. But we've seen teams come down 0-3 by 0-4 Yankees. Rip. But it's doable, man. It's doable. You just need to have the right guys, the right manager, the right staff, be locked in.
Yeah.
The bullpen had a bad game. They still have a lot of guys on their roster that are good. So we'll see. I'm very curious to see how the rest of the series plays out because as much as listen, you could say to me that the series is over. Phillies are going to win regardless. Or you could say to me that, listen, these Diamondbacks, anytime their back has been up against the wall, they fought back, and both are right. Both could be right. So we'll see. I'm excited for the game tomorrow night on TBS, 8 o'clock. I'm stoked, man. I'm
Yeah,
stoked.
as you should be. Every fan should be. It's just crazy though. 6 straight NLCS losses dating back to 2007. I'm just thinking back then. That's when Spider-Man 3 was out. Tobey Maguire. I'm just thinking back to like just because I saw something where it was talked about that Chad Pennington was still quarterback for the Jets.
My
Nobody would have.
guy.
Yeah, your guy. Yeah, you know what I mean. Just thinking back to 2007.
It
David
was
Wright and
insane.
Jose Reyes. That's when they were in their prime. Would have been interesting to see if they made the playoffs that year. Would have been interesting to see if they made the playoffs that year.
We were in
Uh,
second grade that year.
What?
That playoffs is when me and you were in second grade.
It was. Yes, I remember that. Now, I guess let's move on to the Rangers and the Astros, the Lone Star Series,
Mhm.
which the Rangers have now taken the lead in that series 2-0 against the Houston Astros. I mean, you want to elaborate on the series?
First of all, let me take my hat off real quick. Show some respect to the Rangers, undefeated in the
Yeah,
postseason. Look at this,
let's clap it up.
7-0.
Clap it
Okay,
up.
okay, good for them, man.
You're doing this
Um,
without Degrom,
yeah,
Not even Scherzer.
yeah. I was looking on their injury report earlier to see if anybody was rolled out that I didn't see, and I just scrolled past Degrom and I went back up. I was like, that's right, they're doing all this without arguably the best pitcher in the world.
Yeah,
That's nuts. That is insane. And once again, it's the unusual suspects stepping up for them. I had alluded to it earlier. Josh Young hitting 333 out of the 8 spot, rookie third baseman. Leody Tavares, center fielder, hitting 348 out of the 9 spot. Rookie Evan Carter, who played in what, 5 games? That's a little hyperbolic, but he only played 1 month this season in the regular season, batting 350. Corey Seager, 391, World Series MVP 2020. Adolis Garcia, 258. I mean, like they have guys that are hitting. Mitch Garver, the DH and catcher, hitting 278. Catcher Jonah Heim, 250. You have 2 catchers that are hitting over 250 on your roster. That opens up a lot
yeah,
for you. And I understand they're starting Robbie Grossman, the switch hitter, to kind of break them up, and then they're bringing Evan Carter in later on. I'm not going to question Bruce Bochy. He's one of the best managers ever for a reason, for National League pennants on his resume dating back to 1998 with the Padres, and obviously the 3 World Series rings with San Francisco. I kind of want to see them get Evan Carter more involved. The guy's hot, and he's playing fantastic defense. We saw in game 1, but the splits did say left-handed hitter Framber Valdez struggles against righties, so bringing
mm,
Robbie Grossman, the switch hitter, and who can play good defense in left field. Once the only left-handed pitcher on the roster is Valdez, so once he was taken out, it was open season for Evan Carter to come in. I like it. They have options. They'll pinch hit. They'll make substitutions. The bullpen's not great, but when you got Nathan Eovaldi out there, the way
yeah.
he's been pitching, who cares? It's okay to bend and
It's like
not break.
it's like he took over that's ace role for Degrom in a way. Am I right, or do you feel like
Absolutely.
yeah,
6 innings
100%?
pitched, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. 3-0 this postseason.
He's been around
Um,
forever. I feel like not forever, but like he's been around the league for a long time now.
yeah, yeah. And okay, so what was his last start before this against Baltimore? 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 7 strikeouts, 1 run, no walks.
That's
How did
insane.
he do against the Rays in game 1? 6.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts. Thanks for playing.
He's dealing.
3 quality starts in the postseason.
He's man is dealing right now. He is him.
Yeah.
It's just credit to Chris Young, obviously, for just assembling, just putting like you know what I mean. Because like when you don't have that, like Degrom is not there, and then obviously, you know, they need backup insurance and roles. Like Nathan Eovaldi has stepped up.
Mm-hmm. And for as much crap as their bullpen's been getting, let's just throw some flowers at Jose Leclerc, who's now got, I always say this guy's name wrong. Leclerc. Leclerc? Leclerc. Okay.
Something.
There's no I in there, and it's throwing me off because I feel like there should be. But third save of this postseason. Uh, he's pitched in every single game for them. He's had. This is just I'll go all the way back. Why not?
Mm.
He pitched every single game in this postseason, and his ERA is 1.23. He's pitched 7.1 innings, given up 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, only 1 home run, 3 walks. The 1 home run was against Aaron Hicks, if I'm not mistaken. Total batters faced 28. Hey man, you'll take that. You'll take that. And I get it. Aroldis Chapman hasn't really been reliable for them. Shocking, right? But he's got 3 holds in this postseason as well. And you just go back to seeing what he was able to do. 5 games pitched in the postseason, 4.1 innings, 3 strikeouts, 4 walks, 2 hits. Not great. But, I mean, once again, you can bend and not break. Like, it's possible to do that. Meanwhile, Framber Valdez went 2.2 innings pitched for the Astros, and it completely burned their bullpen. They used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their pitchers in the 5-4 loss to Texas, while giving up 4 earned runs. The 1 unearned runs was on a Valdez error on 8 hits and 12 strikeouts. We'll see what's happening, man. But with Max Scherzer coming back, that is a big horse to get. And it is important to say Scherzer is back on the bump tonight for tonight's game, making his first postseason start for Texas and his first start since September 12th when he strained his teres muscle. Not sure if I pronounced that right. Not a doctor. In his right shoulder against the Toronto Blue Jays. The last healthy start Scherzer made in an actual Major League Baseball game was against these very Astros when he got destroyed, pitching 3 innings, allowing 7 earned runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, and 3 homers while striking out only 4 batters. So I'm not, etching into the headstone of the Astros just yet. It's still very winnable. If you're down 2-1, it's in Texas, so there really is no home field advantage or disadvantage. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. We shall see. Interesting to see how Scherzer pitches. I know they said he probably wasn't going to pitch the rest of the season, but he thought otherwise, and he's going to be pitching Game 3 for
I wanted
for
to see
Rangers.
them hold him back to Game 4 for Verlander Scherzer. I
That would
really did.
that would be
I
sick. That would
really
be pretty
wanted
cool.
that. I
I don't know
really
why they
did
don't.
want to get it.
At the end of the day, they're going to do what's best for the for the situation in the moment. I get it. I agree. That would be great. I would be all for that. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that would have been the possibility of happening, I would have I would have not believed you. Considered the fact that they were on my team, on the Mets, you know. But for that to happen, that would be insane, and I feel like that would get remarkable views. I would be watching. I mean, not that I haven't been watching, but like I would have the game on my phone at work and just be on that nonstop. I'd be, 'cause I've been watching most of the games. I'm just saying, like that's something I would consider calling out. Heck, you know what? Heck, fly me to Texas, anyways.
Yeah.
Fly me
Yeah,
down there.
that matchup would have been a bar game for me. I would have gone and just tried to rally some of my homies.
Yeah, I
No
mean, but
doubt.
like I said, at the same time, they're gonna do what's best for the situation for the moment. I remember when it came to 73 and the Mets were about to clinch the World Series against the A's, and Tom Seaver wanted to be the guy to clinch it, but that ended up costing them, and they ended up losing the series to Oakland, which not a lot of people talk about. But it's
I
unfortunate. I
forgot
had to
what
bring
year
it
it
up.
was, but Whitey Ford, something similar happened. They wanted Whitey Ford at home, so they gave him like an extra day or moved him up or something. The Yankees did, and it cost them.
Yeah,
So I get it. I get being cautious with your guys, man. I do. But
yeah. Sometimes and it's like they say, it's not about the I in team. It's about teams. Like you said when I sent you the other day with David, that moment. And we told him, you got to be a team player, and he
what a night
was.
that was.
Yeah, but you know what I
But
mean, like. at the end of the day, it's everything's about a team sport. So I get why they bumped him start tonight instead of game 4. Maybe it's the right situation. We'll find out if it will harm Bruce Bochy. But
Yeah.
you know,
Hey, you said there's no I in team. To quote the late Kobe Bryant, there's no I in team, but there is an M and an E in that MFer. And speaking of guys that are him and are that MFer, Jordan Alvarez. My gosh, for the Astros, this is the guy. If they're still going to be in this series and they're going to play in Houston again, this is the guy who's going to set them up for it. Batting 391 with 6 homers and 23 at bats this postseason. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And really dragging a very disappointing Astros offense. As you know, Scherzer isn't the only player looking to kind of get back on track here. This Astros offense is not what we're used to. Of the 10 players to get at bats in game 2 for the Astros, only 4 are hitting above the 250 mark. First baseman Jose Abreu hitting 261. Center fielder Chas McCormick batting 316. Left fielder Michael Brantley batting 357. And obviously Jordan Alvarez with 391.
yeah,
And
Jordan is insane. He's just ridiculous.
it's crazy. And a guy that's really got to get it going for them. He's been hitting in the 3 spot for them for a reason. Kyle Tucker. He's an all-star, an MVP caliber outfielder, hitting just .098 for the Astros. Has yet to get a hit this series, only got 2 against the Twins. You got to get it going. Even Altuve hitting below 250. Bregman hitting below 250. Like their guys are not what we're used to seeing. And that is terrifying as somebody who's seen the Astros so many times to think that like Jordan by himself is keeping them in these games. Him and Brantley are just, if we're going down with the ship. And I respect that, but their guys really need to get a little. Maybe Baker's got to get creative with them.
Yeah.
Maybe Kyle Tucker, once he gets one hit, he's, when it rains, it pours. When that guy, when he's right, man, oh my God.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah. And the Rangers, we threw flowers at a lot of their players, but Marcus Semien only batting 188, batted 278, 276 in the regular season. Their second baseman, we'll see. I'm excited. This is a good series, man.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you kidding? The Lone Star Series is now, Texas is going. I cannot like it. It's just, 2 teams, 2 juggernauts, essentially in the state of Texas, going at it to win the pennant. I cannot. This is, I agree. Um, you got players like Alvarez, Abreu, Altuve, Brantley going against guys like Simeon and Evaldi, Seager. Just, I mean, it's Marcus Simeon. It's definitely really, even though, like you said, the stats don't show it, but, yeah, this is definitely, like I said, it's definitely been an interesting postseason and for the better. Like, I've enjoyed it.
Let me ask you, out of all the players we've seen this postseason that are left of these 4 teams, who has been the most surprising to you positively? And then I want to hear who's been the most surprising negatively.
Hmm. That's a very good question. I'm not surprised about Yodan. I mean, that's not a shocker because he's been dominating in the postseason, so he's been doing pretty good. Um, I don't feel like any players have disappointed me necessarily. I don't, I mean, I know Harper's been living it up. He's been showing out. I know when he stared down Orlando Arcia with that. I don't know if we talked about that. We didn't talk
I
about
want to
that.
talk about that.
We should talk
I
about
want
that
to talk
quick.
about that. We can talk about that now or later. It's up to you.
I guess players. I mean, just looking at Marcus Simeon, I feel like you said, his stats should have been better. Is he player like what was his average decent during the season, or like how come?
He batted 284
Yeah, just
during the regular season.
when you're hitting 188, that's not going
Oh,
to cut it.
I'm sorry, he batted 276 in the regular season. Tucker batted 284 in the regular season. My mistake. But he was an all-star. He's what, the second best second baseman in the American League behind Altuve. And if you want to say he's better than Altuve this season, I wouldn't argue against it.
I'm not shocked about Jose Abreu because I feel like didn't his average dip down a little bit this year?
It did for the first half of the season, and then the last month of the season, he's gotten kind of back to himself. And
Okay.
he had some clutch moments in that Minnesota series, man.
Yeah. So I mean, 261. That's not bad. That's decent.
It's above
Yeah.
acceptable.
But what about you? Any players that come to mind for you?
Um, in a positive way, I'm going to go with Aaron Nola. He's a very streaky pitcher. He's had a lot of highs and lows this season for the Phillies. And I was a little concerned, so to speak, going into this postseason. I kind of thought if the Phillies had a weak link, that would have been it.
Okay.
And he's proved me wrong. He's
Yeah.
proved me wrong. He's had a very productive postseason effort in his walk year. He's a free agent after this season. He's gone 3-0 this postseason, and his ERA is 0.96 in the
Mm.
postseason. 18.2 innings pitched, 12 hits, 2 runs, no homers, 2 walks, 19 strikeouts. And if you saw what he was doing to the Diamondbacks last night, that sinker was wicked.
Mm.
Wicked. They could do nothing with it. Ron Darling and Jeff Francoeur on the TBS broadcast, he threw a sinker to, I think it was Gabriel Moreno, and they said, that's a perfect pitch. That was a perfect pitch. At the last second, it curved right into the strike zone. Beautiful pitch. Went
Yeah.
down looking. So he's proved me wrong. He's proved me wrong, and I'm okay with that. And I like when guys that have been hard on, and if you've read some of my columns, you'll know I was kind of hard on him at times. I like when I'm proved wrong.
Yeah.
Like there's no belly aching and whatnot. Like
Yeah.
I look on Philly's Twitter or Reddit or other forums, just kind of see the vibe of like the fan base at times, and a lot of them were saying we don't want Nola back because he's too inconsistent. If the price is over a certain amount, don't even bother. And he's kind of proving everybody wrong. Like he's the ace that they expected him to be, and
Yeah.
I respect that, and I'm glad that that's how he's been playing. He's rising once again. The Phillies rise to the occasion. They don't play down to their level, their opponent's level.
I feel
And
like
then
definitely. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
most disappointing, easily Kyle Tucker. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
A .098 batting average. Come on, you're in the 3 spot for a reason. When he gets going, oh my God, Altuve, Bregman, Tucker, Alvarez. How do you pitch to that? So if Tucker gets going for the Astros, man, that is, whew,
Yeah. There's no stopping them.
no.
Like Luke
I'm
Combs
sorry.
says, there's no stopping me once I get going.
Were you going to say something before I cut you off? Talk about Tucker.
I feel like there's a couple players that I feel like have definitely shown out in a surprising way. I guess maybe I feel like Jonah Heim. I don't feel like he gets talked about. I remember because people forget Game 1 of that ALDS when he tagged out um, Gunnar Henderson. I believe that was
Doing
to me
well.
remarkable. One of the best throws I've ever seen, and just the excitement that he brought to just after the play and just to the Rangers bench. Like I just thought that was insane.
Yeah, the second
I
year
don't feel like
switch hitting catcher.
what
The second year switch hitting catcher for the Rangers.
I feel like he deserves some love. Obviously, Valdi. He's showing out in a surprising way because, like I said, he's been around the league a lot and he's pitching like an ace for the team right now. He's essentially pitching like you see the stats, you're like, oh, that's Jacob DeGrom. You're like, no, that's Nathan Eovaldi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are players I think have definitely been have showing out for them. And but yeah, no. So I think now we should definitely before we dive into the baseball world, we outside of the playoffs, um, Orlando Arcia. I mean, what was going on between that? I know because I see the photo of Harper staring him down after that home run.
This to me is so stupid. And I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound like a jerk, but maybe I will. Orlando Arcia supposedly said in the locker room after the
Game two.
Harper blunder to give the Braves to tie the series at 1-1 in Atlanta. He says, "Attaboy Harper" in the locker room. And somebody who I guess is like a podcast host or a writer or somebody, not a guy that covers the Braves or Phillies, but he was there in the locker room. It's the playoffs. There's more media personnel, obviously. And so he tweeted it out that that's what Arcia said. And the whole world went on fire. And then RCM, the Braves were like, well, the locker room, this is what you should and should not say. Like, come on, isn't the locker room supposed to be private? Or I think it might have been Kevin Gausman of the Blue Jays had said something about that as well. And it's I hate to say it, but thank God this isn't like the 1970s where reporters would go out partying with the players and then just trash them the next day and saying, "Oh yeah, that guy played hungover. No wonder why he sucks. Trade his bum ass." Like that's how it used to be. That's how it used to be. In the 80s, they were ruthless. Dude, Jeter is one of the best players ever. Some of the stuff Jeter's had to put up with, grow up. You said it. Own it. Own it. And then I have no issues with Harper staring him down. It's the playoffs. Be entertaining. I don't understand why that was such a big deal and why so many people were offended about it. It's like, well, maybe this is why people don't watch baseball, because no players have any personality whatsoever. Did you think of that? Like, they're a division rivalry. Make it a rivalry. If you said it, you said it. Say, yeah, I mean, listen, man, he bailed us out of a game. Whatever. This is the playoffs. You'll take what you can get. Obviously, we're stoked it happened. Who cares?
Yeah.
The whole thing was just strange to me that it became such a massive headline. And it was almost like, what is it, the Streisand effect, when you're trying to cover something up and it becomes a bigger story because of that? That's kind of how it was. Like, the Braves tried so hard to get in front of it, and people were like, you're making it a bigger deal. You could have just said, like, yeah, I said something stupid. Like,
Right.
it's whatever, man.
You
It's
said what you
whatever.
said.
It was so strange. And then did you see Alano Rizzo from High Heat on MLB Network? Like, rip the reporter apart. And then the
Really?
next day she apologized. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It was
insane.
the whole story is far out. It's something, man. I don't know. I
Sounds
get a
interesting.
kick out of it, but
I gotta look it up. I mean, I wish we had it. I mean, I wish I would have been able to put it up.
yeah,
Could have played it.
it's an all-timer rant. It is so funny, especially it's when you're first watching it, it's like, dang, she's very passionate. And then it's hilarious when you see the next day she just recants all of it. I love stuff like that so much. And I know, hey, if we ever make it to the industry on an ESPN or an MLB network or
Yeah.
whatever, I will do the exact same thing. And guess what? I'll still think it's funny.
There you go.
So, yeah,
There you
I
go.
like to laugh at myself.
Hey, you gotta laugh at yourself, sometimes.
That story, though. What
You gotta
did
laugh
you
at
think?
yourself
You
sometimes.
asked me my opinion, and I went off for 5 minutes. So, what was yours?
What, on the Orlando Aussie?
Yeah, what was that about?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's a like you said, it's a rivalry. Both NL East teams, they're gonna, they beat them last year. Like I said, they've been in the division for so long, all these years. The media is gonna do what the media does. They're gonna hype. You give them something, they're gonna roll with it. I mean, I don't know. Like it's how it is. I mean, maybe it's probably blown a little bit out of proportion, probably. But the Harper stare down. I just think, I don't think it would have been a big deal if Harper maybe he didn't do anything behind the plate. Am I wrong with that?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. I remember in 2019 in the World Series, Alex Bregman held the bat for too long, for like a while after hitting a home run. Juan Soto hits a home run and takes it almost to first base, takes the bat. I don't care. It's the
Yeah.
playoffs. Like, get personal. What's the best rivalry in baseball right now? Go ahead, tell me.
That's tough. Right
There
now?
isn't any. That's the
Right.
answer.
Yeah. Mets Braves?
Maybe Guardians White Sox, the way that ended with Ramirez and Anderson. But if you don't play each other in the postseason, I could care less. Like, dude, the Red Sox Yankees rivalries when we were kids were insane.
Yeah, they were huge.
Insane. Like when Veritek cheap shot at A-Rod, when Pedro threw down Don Zimmer. Like, there's moments with
Yeah, I
that.
saw that. Yeah,
Posada and
I've seen a
Pedro
lot of that.
hated each other. Like, hate's a strong word. Those two dudes hated each other and
What
made
was
it very
What was
clear.
Don Zimmer? What was it? What'd you say, Don Zimmer? What was
Don
he doing
Zimmer, dude,
charging at Pedro
he's
Martinez?
76 years old or like 82 and like
Yeah, I mean,
charged at Pedro. I'm a Yankees fan, but I can admit that, like, I don't know what, if I was Pedro, I'm not sure what I would have done in that
yeah,
situation.
no,
Like,
everyone.
it wasn't malice, like, it was just confusion.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying it was okay to throw the guy down, but either way, at the same time, like the guy was
It
charging
was
at him,
weird.
like
Yeah.
the guy, Don was charging at him, like I don't know what made Don want to do that, and everyone's like, oh, like everyone's yelling at Pedro, but at the same time, like the guy's charging at him, like
Yeah.
what do you want him to do? Like, like I said, I'm not saying he should have thrown him down, but I'm saying like, I don't like how like looking at like back at the video, people are like, oh, that's sick by Pedro, like the guy's charging at him,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Like, I have no issues with it. This is the second year in your division rivals. Second year in the row, you guys are playing each other in the playoffs. Like, I'm okay with it getting chippy.
Well, so if you see them if you see them
I'm
going
okay
out
with it.
now and there's a brawl now, so they're gonna point to Battin and Chattin now and Eastham. So they're gonna be like they're gonna be like Dennis. Are you gonna be on high heat? I'm gonna hear you, ESP.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
me
don't
5 minutes ago. Like,
yeah, I mean, look,
there's no rivalries. I want a rivalry tomorrow. I just want to apologize. I didn't mean to stoke the flames of the
apologize in
rivalry.
advance. But yeah,
And
but I agree though.
it's
Topic of conversation though. Well, what are you gonna say before?
it's the same thing with like the Phillies. Like, people were up in arms about the Phillies doing the tomahawk chop. The Phillies
Oh
fans,
man, yeah.
dude, it's the postseason. Live a little. Live a little. Like, I don't have, once again, I'm not trying to say it should be like Yankees Red Sox where fans were stabbing each other. Real story.
Oh crap.
But like, like, you can afford to like mess with each other a little bit. And by the way, are we really getting on Phillies? I understand the reputation of Phillies fans. As I've gotten more into Philly fandom, covering the Phillies, I've learned more about the lore of their people and their culture. Fun fan base. Let's not act like the Braves didn't throw garbage on the field twice against the Phillies and 10 years ago against the Cardinals. They've done it twice, throwing beer bottles and beer cans on the field during a playoff game. Who's the classiest fan? I don't know. The one
Mets fan.
who gets absolutely hammered after their blue collar job and tells a player to go F his millionaire self, or
Oh my
somebody
god.
who's throwing beer cans and beer bottles onto a field twice. I'm just saying. And by the way, I've learned the lore behind the drunk Santa Eagles thing. That's why they threw it at him. Wasn't that he was Santa? It's because the guy was like belligerently drunk. I got to the bottom of it. I learned a lot. They're good people, the Philadelphians. Nice people.
I gotta go. I don't know. I don't know if I feel like I'd go to a Phillies game. I wish. I don't know how they'd be if I'd wear my Jet jersey.
I want to wear. You know how I feel about that.
I know,
If you
but
go
I
to a
mean, come
Phillies
on. Well,
game and you
yeah, I
wear a
know, but
Jets
like, I
jersey,
don't
that's weird.
have, but I'm representing.
Against, if they're playing the Mets, or if you're
Oh
just
no,
going to a Phillies game.
like an Eagles, or
Oh wait, like an Eagles Jets
like an
game or just
Eagles,
an Eagles game?
just an Eagles game. I mean,
Oh,
I've done it
okay.
before. Well, I've done it before when I went to Canyon Yard and I wore my Noah Syndergaard jersey. We went on a choir tour, and there was actually someone like I think it was a homeless guy. Was like chirping at me when I
That's
remember.
fine.
And I remember I had no idea. I was in Brandon land. I wasn't paying attention. I was in my own
Brady
mind.
land.
So yeah, I was in Buddy land. So I was just and people came up to me. I think like 5 or 10 minutes later, like, hey, like you didn't see that guy chirping at you? I'm like, no, what's up? I was, like, what am I gonna do? I'm like 16. Like, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Fight the homeless guy?
Yeah, fight a
But
Baltimore homeless guy, buddy. You made a very wise decision that day.
no, that would not be.
If somebody else was like, "What did you say to me?" He's not going to care that you're not from around there. That's
Yeah,
it.
no, yeah, like I said, no, I didn't. No,
I
yeah,
have,
it was no, yeah, like I said, I didn't. Even if you would, I wouldn't care. I'll just keep walking. There's
yeah,
no point of
a
that now,
buddy.
unless you want to see me in a Baltimore precinct.
Yeah,
Hey ma, hey dad, you know, lost my synagogue jersey, and I'm also in a Baltimore precinct. You want to come pick me up? Bail is but So I mean, the Phillies fans. I would love to go to Phillies Mets. I know someone that lives in Philly, and he's from New Rochelle, I think, New York.
okay.
Um, yeah, no, not New Rochelle, New York. Is New Rochelle, is that Connecticut or is that the
I think
Bronx?
it's in New York.
Right. Yeah, New Rochelle, New York. Yeah, I'm sorry for my
What
apologies
is
for
it?
my
New
geography.
Jersey? Oh gosh, now I'm confusing myself.
I'm pretty sure New Rochelle is the Bronx.
I think you're right.
Let me just to clarify for the viewers, just to make sure I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Yeah, New Rochelle, New York. Anyways, and so he lives in Philly now. I gotta text him. I gotta see how he's doing, and he goes to some of the Phillies games. I don't think he's had a bad experience. I mean, well, I gotta ask him again, but I don't know. Like they say, they're the city of brotherly love for a reason.
Of course,
What they say. I mean, but I haven't really had that experience, so we'll find out one day. We'll take a trip.
that'd be fun. That'd be
Yeah, maybe
fun.
we'll plan it for next year.
I've been to the city of Philadelphia once or twice. Saw the Liberty Bell. Big Liberty Bell fan.
Nice.
Um,
Rocky Steps?
yeah, haven't gotten to a game though.
I haven't either. I've
Maybe this
watched
year
I've
I'll
watched It's
go.
Always Sunny in Philly.
Love that show. I've watched almost every episode.
That is pretty
I don't know
funny.
if the new season came back, but
Yeah, they have so many seasons. Are they ever gonna stop it?
I don't know. It's the longest running live action sitcom ever. Pretty
Hey, good for 'em.
impressive.
Yeah,
Pretty
you know what I
impressive.
mean? Like they're just They're just going on and on. Like Like I remember watching the first season and Danny DeVito came in season 2. I was like, oh, there he is. Danny
Crawling out of the couch.
DeVito.
That scene
Yeah.
never ceases to make me like crack up when he's crawling out of the couch naked.
Hey
Did
yo.
you ever see that episode?
Now what season is that?
I don't know, but it's hilarious. I think it's a Christmas episode. They make fun of a Christmas Carol. You know,
Okay.
the one with like the Ghost of Christmas
Right,
Past. I
yeah,
think
the
it's a
Ghost of
Christmas.
Christmas Past.
They make fun of that, and Danny DeVito crawls out of a leather couch naked. It's so funny.
Oh,
It is,
Jesus.
dude. I'm telling you, it's one of the funniest things ever.
So in total, Philly is a interesting place. I've
Yeah,
been to Philly. I have been to Philly. I've been to the Rocky Steps. I've seen the Liberty Bell. No Google. I would not enter in my password. I don't know if you heard that Google.
no,
See that ding? Oh, okay. I got a ding. Sorry. No, I guess I should ignore that because I got a notification and I don't know if you heard that. Yeah, my bad.
I didn't.
Just clarify to the viewers. So I mean, but like I said, maybe we'll plan that next. We'll plan it next year, but take a Philly trip.
Yeah, nice summertime. Although, if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of like horses out there. I forget if it's Boston
Sounds
or
like Boston.
Philadelphia, but there's a lot of horses. And I remember it was Philadelphia, and there was a lot of horse dookie.
Okay, nice.
And in the summertime, I don't know if that's going to be a problem. That would reek.
That would reek.
So,
Would reek.
by the
Now,
way, I was talking about this on my college radio show Monday night,
yeah,
doing Gable Talk Sports on OWWR. But
that's right.
the is the Philadelphia Phillies home run bell the coolest stadium celebration in sports? I think so.
I
I
like
think
how they
that's
have
so
the
freaking cool. In the playoffs, when the place is rocking, you hear the dong, dong, dong. That sound, dude, that sounds so cool. It gives me chills.
Wait. Oh, are you talking about with like the Rocky song?
No, no. When anytime they hit a home run in the season during the regular season and in the postseason especially, they ring what sounds like a bell for the Liberty Bell. I think it, dude. I literally think it's the coolest thing in sports.
I like how when it's like 0-2 in a count and there's two outs, they have the Rocky song come on.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
think that's really cool. That gets me hyped up. Like that would get anybody like even whether you're a Rocky fan or you're whether you're a Philly fan or you're a Rocky fan, that would get you hyped up.
Yeah. I like what you
Um,
guys do too with the lighting up the apple. That's cool, man.
oh, it's the best. Are you
That's
kidding?
cool.
It's amazing. And
It
when they would
sucks
hit
that
it,
it's
yeah.
like a day game, you can't see it really, but
It's the best. The apple, man. It's you can't go wrong with it. The Big Apple, man.
it's
The
cool.
Yankees thing
Yeah.
is cool too. I feel bad when we left for that Astros game because
Don't
we
say
saw.
that on
I'm
the
sorry.
air.
I know. I'm
Destroy.
sorry.
And guess what? The Yankee fan was the one that was pushing us to go.
You
It was
sure?
completely me
It was both of
because I didn't
us.
want to miss the train, not realizing that they probably would have held the trains for a little bit.
Yeah, not for nothing. We didn't know we knew nothing about the subways, so we probably
We
should
also
just
got lost.
yeah.
We also got lost. So think about it. I mean, maybe we would have gotten home a lot later than we actually did.
Yeah, we did run into people. We did run into people we knew, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the home run, right?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I was like, "Yeah." Or Joe, I feel like if Joey would blast, he would blast me. He's like, "Oh, you left for the." I'm like, "Yeah, I had to." I said, "I mean, well, yeah." So I remember seeing the lights. I like how they have the lights and the siren that goes on. Like, I think that's dope.
Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? But I guess before we wrap up the show, the Marlins, your fish. They, general manager Kim Ng, the first female general manager in MLB history, they agreed to part ways earlier this week. Why is that? What made this move transpire?
Because the Marlins are an awfully ran organization. That's why. I'll save you the guesswork.
Damn.
It's ridiculous at this point. They've won 2 World Series and they blew it up both times. There is not one player that had the same tenure with the Marlins on both the 97 and 2003 World Series teams. Jeff Conine did play in both World Series as a Marlin, but in between those years, he was let go.
Okay.
Hanley Ramirez, we could go back so much. We could even do recent when they got rid of Yelich, Ozuna, Stanton. Obviously, Jose Fernandez passed away, but
Rest in
they
peace.
they had guys. They had
Yeah, they've had
guys.
these guys. Yeah, they had the guys. I don't know. Especially, I don't know why they made this move after they just made the postseason.
The first postseason they've made, excluding the 2020 shortened season when they were the fourth seed, excluding that season, the first postseason they've made since 2003 when they won the World Series.
Yeah.
They've never won their division. They're the only team to have been to the World Series twice, not winning the division either time, and won it 2 times as the wild card. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They've never won a division. They've won 2 World Series rings. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That
I wish I could
you had
tell you.
2 opportunities to build on it, and you've squandered both of them. Now you have Kim Ng in, and at first fans didn't really like her, but now that the players that she's drafted and developed and traded for and whatnot are coming up, you're seeing the potential. Jazz Chisholm, he can't stay healthy, didn't have a good postseason, but there's potential there, man. He's young. He's a young guy.
Yeah.
Luis Arias, you have the
I was
best
gonna say
contact
Luis
hitter in the
Arias.
sport.
Yeah, I was gonna say him.
Jake Berger was is it fair to say, kind of a nobody on the White Sox? Who was talking about Jake Berger opening day?
Not Danny Burgers. Danny Vogelback. Uh, brought in Josh Bell.
Yeah. And okay, the David Robertson trade didn't work out for them.
It didn't. No.
Fine.
But I mean, the
Who did they
idea of the
give up?
trade.
Who did
But
they
the
even give
yeah,
up? They didn't even give up anybody.
the idea of trading for David Robinson. Yeah, that should say enough.
Yeah. Sandy Alcantara had an awful season. Turns out he needed Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
Is
Oh,
that her
that
fault?
sucks.
Okay, so people were criticizing her for trading Pablo Lopez. You got Luis Arias.
Yeah.
You got Luis Arias. You got a guy who was hitting 400 over 60 games into the season. He finished the year with 354 batting average. We're whining about Pablo Lopez? Really? I get it. Pablo Lopez is really good for the Twins. We saw what he did in the postseason. But come on. That's a little ridiculous, don't you think?
I do.
So I don't understand. I thought that it would be like it's a minority of fans that think that that Kim Ng wasn't a good general manager. But the reason why she's leaving is they wanted to bring in a president of baseball operations above her. And she was just like, I could get more money and call my own shots. And supposedly, similar to Jeter, and she was with the Yankees forever, there was issues about the payroll. She wanted a bigger
Really?
payroll.
Okay.
Yeah. And once again, like you made the postseason, why not go all in? Okay, so people keep saying that this free agent class isn't very good. And you're right. But Eduardo Rodriguez is a free agent. Aaron Nola is a free agent. There's guys out there.
Yeah.
It's just not a lot of them.
Is that why do you feel like a lot of players are going, like a lot of teams, a lot of GMs are going out of the country to sign players? Like like how the Japanese market there it's ramping out.
I
Like the
think that
Mets were able to get Kodai Senga. Look how that turned out. He's in line for he's in talks. He's not going to get the Cy Young, but he's in the conversation for it.
he should have gotten Rookie of the Year. The
Yeah,
fact that it was just a foregone conclusion that should have been Corbin Carroll was ridiculous to me. I get it. He had 50 stolen bases, but the whole league, everybody could have gotten freaking
everybody had
30.
50. I could have 50 stolen bases.
I, I'm
But hey,
not trying to hate on you, but like you're not exactly wrong. Like it's the lack of pickoffs completely changed the game. I'm
yeah,
surprised we haven't seen more stolen bases in the playoffs. The Phillies ran the Braves off the field
yeah. I mean, hey,
in
good for
that
Corbin
round,
Carroll
and
though.
they have kind of slowed down against the Diamondbacks. I don't know if it's because Gabriel Moreno is a better thrower as a catcher. Like I don't know what the reasoning is, but they had Trey Turner on first base last night, and
Yeah,
the Diamondbacks just kept throwing over at him,
yeah,
and he didn't steal. And I was like, if this was the regular season, he would have stolen home by now. Like it's so I thought Senga got screwed, but back to the Marlins. Like, could you imagine if you're a pitcher? Why wouldn't you want to go to the Marlins? Why wouldn't you want to go to the Marlins? Especially, let's be honest, if you're from the Caribbean, you know what I mean? Like you're closer to your
right.
family, or as close as you're going to get in the league, and their pitching staff, development, everything is like one of the best organizations for pitching in the league.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Why they kind of busted her chops about it. So I'm curious to see where she's going to go. Not sure.
Yeah,
Not sure.
definitely it would be pretty interesting, but no, I agree. They probably, Miami, they're underrated, market organization. Hopefully organizational wise, structural management, they fix it.
They should be such a
Um,
powerhouse team. There's so much potential there.
they do got a
I
lot of
don't
potential.
understand how the Dolphins and Heat are always talked about as a big market team and the Marlins aren't.
They got a great stadium.
Yeah,
And you've been there, you've seen it, you could
I like
tell.
it better than City Field and Yankee Stadium. I really do. I really like it.
I gotta
People
make
have
a trip
said
there.
the area it's in isn't very nice. Compared to going to Yankee Stadium, it might as well be freaking paradise. I'm not trying to sound like a jerk, but it's, you know,
It is the
it's
Bronx.
not exact. You live like 3 blocks away from Yankee Stadium and it could get a little dicey. I
Yeah.
honestly felt so safe in Miami when I was down there. I don't know if it's because everybody was on their best behavior, but there's some like also like EDM festival going on too, which I had no
Sounds
idea
interesting.
about.
Yeah.
And then our Uber driver's like, "Yeah, I'm going to one." I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. You have fun.
He's
You go,
going
girl."
to.
But
But yeah. But anything else before we wrap up? And
4 teams left.
I guess before we wrap up, all said and done, World Series.
That's what I was getting to.
I'm sorry, I didn't steal your
I
mojo though, did
think
I?
it's going to be my Phillies over Texas.
Okay, really?
Knocking on the wood of my snack table.
I didn't steal. Well, hold on, I didn't steal your thunder right there, right? Was that a moment of two great minds thinking alike, or that was I didn't steal
That
your
was it.
mojo right there?
That
Well,
was it. I've talked over you 100 times today. So
I think it's been pretty
uh,
equal. Been decent.
what are you thinking?
I'm gonna say Texas over Philly.
Oh, okay. I like this.
I think Texas gets their first World Series. Texas
If they
Rangers
line
gets their
up,
first World Series. I think it's gonna happen.
yeah, I just can't count out Houston. I just can't count them out, man. I'm not feeling good about it. Saying Rangers over the Astros.
Really?
It's not a lock. The Phillies, I think that series. I'm not trying to jinx it, so I'm being a little hesitant in saying that it's over, but the Diamondbacks looked so defeated at the end of last night. After that error that I talked about earlier, when it dropped between the pitcher Moreno and Gold Glove winner Evan Longoria, that team looked deflated. They had nothing
Yeah.
left to give, and the Phillies were just pouring it on and pouring it on and pouring it on. And a lot of people talk about their home run totals, but they kill you with singles. They take the extra base. They're a smart base running team. They're really just top to bottom offensively a juggernaut. Oh, and by the way, you have one of the best closers of all time coming in for you in Craig Kim. No
Yeah.
biggie. So I just that series I feel pretty confident in, but the Texas series I have it could go either way because home field advantage doesn't exist. They're in the same state.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm curious.
But that's my
Stoked for
thoughts. I
to
think
see
I
it.
think Texas over Philly. We'll see. But for now, be sure to check out our revamped website at www.easternobserver.com for the latest news in the world of baseball and so much more. We thank you for joining us on another edition of Battin and Chattin. For my co-host Denis Tuohy and the entire Blackjack Media Group team, I'm Brandon Natale saying so long, and we'll see you next time.